Hey, it was a normal break this time. Aren't you happy with this? Hey, your mic is Oh, that's the new casting thing, right?
See, I'm not used to the break timer actually being, when
Oh,
so,
got you,
like,
got you. I
my
hear you.
mic's a little late. I
Hey,
don't know.
I had to
Gotta
catch
hit the eyebrows one time before we go.
Casters need their beauty rest, We had to catch that little nap. Sorry, guys. But now we're ready to go. It's D69 versus Flashpoint. Of course, my name is Randy. This is Hi-Rez Pretty Hair. Ready to get into the action here for the final one for EU. But remember, we've got North America and their qualifiers coming up right after this. It's just nonstop Paladins action all day. So make sure you stay with us here. 2-0 with the stores, and now getting into the next one. Going to be an exciting matchup.
Flashpoint. So big thing here is this was when we did this a long time ago for the Masters LAN qualifying for that. Flashpoint and WAC have to look to take every game they can off each other because D69 and Burrito, especially, or Gangstars now, they're not going to be looking to give up games early. They've been clinched since like week 2 of the open brackets. This is now when it matters for them again. They're going to be as good as they've ever been. They're going to be very scary, at least for the first 2 weeks.
And also, you're looking at they're defending the LAN title right now. And this is their real opportunity to go in there with some momentum. D69 are going to have to win this game big. And Flashpoint, they want to get a win themselves. It's going to be a tight, contested game, especially on Stone Keep. The champion draft will give us a lot of indication as to who's going to come out on top. So let's go into it and see which teams will bring what into the battlefield.
First pick for D69, right into the Makoa. Stone Keep. This is their Frog Isle for Gangstars, right? This is where they go to more often than not for their first map pick. Flashpoint wisely responding with the Bomb King. Maybe going for the Inara next. No, it's going to be the Andro.
So this will leave Drogos on the table, but right now, I think D69 a little better off getting a core here. They know Drogo's probably not going to be taken because they've got Bomb King already, and they've got the Andro to counter it. So they're safe to grab a healer here, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to grab the Ruckus and the Saris, get their core lined up. Now Flashpoint can respond. What do they go here? Anara.
They still need their tanks and their healer. Yeah, they need.
Or do you leave Damba out because
they want to leave their last pick open? I think. I don't know if they're planning to go double frontliner at all. So they need to leave this last pick open for kind of a counter pick. Maybe, but they've already kind of put themselves in a spot. They have Bomb King Andro, so they don't need a whole lot more damage. They're hovering Ashe right now, but it will be Barrack. God.
Dirty.
Hopes were high.
Dirty.
Yeah, I don't like Barrack personally, so I was real excited. And then you come in with the highest high and hit me with the lowest low.
I'm a little salty about that one right now. All right, Anara's gonna be coming out next. Anara comes through. You never know. It might go with the real big beefy line up there, but they do maybe have a secondary tank option here. Ashe could be legitimate, but they save it in case a Kinessa might work. We've seen her jump here, but the Drogo's taken away. This is kind of surprising. I would not have anticipated this. Bomb King and Drogo's on one squad?
Yeah, it's because they go for a triple tank, and Drogo's punishes that very heavily. You can see D69 trying to cover their own butts here, picking up the Lex just so they have something to contest the Drogos. But that's going to be the name of the game here. Can D69 survive the onslaught long enough? That's all they're going to be able to do here with this type of lineup. It's going to be bugzy on his Makoa. Yet to select his legendary. Death hastens for PERDO's Lex. Half shelf for the time being for bugzy's Makoa. Mortal Reach for gerrah's Saris. Mother's Grace for Shipa's and Nara there, and an aerial assault for eLvenpath's Ruckus.
Cog now is going to be playing Spirits Chosen, Maldamba, extra healing for him. Architectonics, Barrack for Cephid Cloud seem to be the majority pick right now, and at least in this EU meta. Accelerant Poppy Bomb, legendary for Fishko on Bomb King as usual. Phoenix running Combustible here on Drogos, which is deadly for this tanky composition on the side of D69. And Sive 8 here with Dark Stalker Androxus. My big key is, how are they going to catch them? How are you going to catch Androxus? Who on this team can catch up with him? He's going to run away from everyone.
They're not. They're just going to look to sit on the point and win the game.
And that could be the issue, though. Going into this, they don't take the path of the point. In fact, eLvenpath goes into an area where he can just look at the point and fire away. That's what Ruckus does, but look at how low gerrah is already. He's sneaking into the backside, just keeping his tanks exposed and helping them with the healing right now.
Have to see big fire spit coming in here. Isn't going to connect onto anyone. moving out for the first time onto the point. Shipa taking his first steps there, trying to get things going for D69, and this is where that's all their tank comp needs to do. PERDO hopefully can find a frag here, but there's so much damage in this backline for a Flashpoint. It's going to be extremely difficult for him to find an angle. Maybe it has to come off the back of bugzy's dredge anchor.
Bit of a weird draft here by D69. So far, it has worked out for them, 54% on the objective, but things seem to get worse as Cauterize and Wreckers start making more of an impact late game. So far, so good. Shipa on the
No one's died.
No one's died yet. Very timid play by Flashpoint.
And that's, you know, kind of what we're thinking is going to happen there. Finally, the first blood comes through. Quickly answered, though, by PERDO. Early game, Flashpoint, without Cauterizers and Wreckers, it's going to be tough to bring anyone down from D69.
Yeah.
And likewise, D69 just don't have a lot of damage. They don't have a lot of ways to find kills, so it's got to be someone from Flashpoint stepping over the line in the sand there, putting themselves in a position to get picked, or bugzy landing a dredge anchor. That one's going to miss, however.
To me, why are we not seeing more aggressive play coming out from Flashpoint? You got a lineup that's so much more mobile. Drogos, Bomb King, and Droxus. You guys can get in and get out, yet we barely saw them aggress past halfway. We didn't even see them flank. PERDO on Lex, he can't even have any vertical mobility. He was the one flanking. I think this is just a misplay of the lineup that you guys have drafted.
Maybe too much respect, not playing what you've drafted here, but you're right. They were all kind of clumped together in that lower cathedral, just sort of firing away at the tanks, which is exactly what D69 hope for. They're hoping you don't abuse your mobility, abuse the things that they don't have. Their composition from D69 is just built to last. That's exactly what they're hoping. You just kind of punch them in the face over and over, and before you know it, this payload is, you know, breathing down your neck.
Minute and 28 seconds left. Here's the King Bomb, but that won't kill bugzy, especially with Gerrah healing him up. Just no value from that ultimate, no follow-up, no aggression. That's what we need to see. It's not an item in Paladins anymore, but you can still play aggressive. And oh boy, the Hexafire. That's what eLvenpath wanted. That's just the dream scenario. Convergence setting it all up. And this is D69 on a walk in the park. No contest here by Flashpoint.
Gorgeous Hexafire from eLvenpath there. Not only he sees, you know, two juicy targets right there in the convergence, but he also sees a Drogos winding up a Dragon Punch. So target prioritization. He quickly snaps to that Drogos, burns him down during the windup, and then has enough left in the tank to poke down the two remaining members. PERDO cleans it all up there. The Law looks like it was used as well, sitting at 9% on that. Blast Shield's coming through. Resilience coming through for bugzy. Gerrah on his morale boost too, but this is what D69 want. They just want this quick win here.
And what's so important too, Nick, they don't get the early credits from winning the game. I mean, winning the first round. That's what they should have been going after. Because D69 now, they have the credit advantage. Cauterize and Wreckers are coming late for Flashpoint.
Yep, this is the dream scenario. This is the death ball comp drafted from D69, and this is their versatility. They have all kinds of, this is the type of mid-draft adjustments that we don't really see from other teams. Not many people, even if it's open, won't go for that triple frontliner. They don't have the confidence, they don't have the comms, they don't have the experience to be able to pull off this wide variety of drafts.
Imagine a Kinessa on this lineup. No one could get to her. She could just weigh in on these tanks from afar and transport her out if anyone got close, but bugzy's still the one leading. Looks like the damage aspect of this fight. D69 in firm control, 30% to their name and counting.
Playing it slow as well. Bugzy looking for another dredge anchor. He's going to find it. A lot of damage thrust up into the air. A little bit early, though. Wasn't inside of the cathedral, so he just puts himself in an even worse spot. Phoenix going to go down here. 66% already on the point, and no light at the end of the tunnel for Flashpoint.
Playing like scared puppy dogs. Flashpoint just are afraid to contest against D69, and it's not working out for them in this draft. Finally, onto the point goes SunCommander with a dome shield, buying a little bit of time. The Grumpy Bomb's here. A stun will come through, but PERDO looking to follow up, uses the right click and gets the auto aim for the secure of the kill. But Fishko, again, not able to stay in the fight long enough. Drogo's pulled once more, and this will be an objective captured and a kill for bugzy and D69.
3-0, pushing for the 4-0 as well. And, you know, it sucks to say, but when you go down 2-0 against a death ball comp played by one of the best teams in the world, it's tough to come back. Yeah. The ball is in D69's court for them. They have to make a turnover here, an unforced error, I think, for Flashpoint to have a chance of coming back at this stage of the game. The Cauterize, the Wreckers might, if they hit the level 2 soon enough, there might be some hope, but if they can't get there quick enough, then this game's over.
That's right. They need to finish off one of these big tanks. It's not going to be the easiest thing. They've got a lot of time to buy, but Phoenix finally finding a kill, and Cybate there onto the Makoa. This is where things could turn. This is about the second round, mid-second round. They're getting enough credits for Wrecker Cauterize. This is the big moment for Flashpoints to hold.
Let's take a look at the items here while we have a moment to breathe and just see if anyone from Flashpoint is able to hit that mark on these level 2 items, and SunCommander has hit it. Fishko has hit Wrecker too, but particularly Cauterize I think is going to be the big one here. So Sybe 8, about 90 credits off from his Cauterize too. Got to be sent back to base, but not enough for it. So all things not looking super great for Flashpoint.
Gogcog here as well, not having the most impact on that Maldamba, as we've sometimes seen on the Ceres with those clutch convergences on Jaguar Falls. He's still trying to find that rhythm, but on a 2 streak, so that's a good note. PERDO just being so good at target prioritization here. Now mid-air, he knows the Androxus may be looking for an Accursed Arm. Gonna leave him alone though at the meantime. Still, this could be the moment that they lose. Accursed Arm for CC Immunity, finds one on the Ruckus, finds 2 there. On to Phoenix though, he dies.
Nice.
And gerrah finally goes down. Sybe picking up 2 in that fight though.
Beautiful response, and that's the authoritative response in that team fight. We saw what happened in the previous round. D69 looked to just do it again, but there was enough ultimates on the table, and part of it in the first round, there may have not been those ultimates to respond. This time around, they have them, they use them, they find value everywhere and just counter all of that aggression. Flashpoint with a nice hold and shutting down all those streaks as well.
Yeah.
Will probably give, Sybe enough credits to hit Caught too, and maybe they'll have a chance at holding here now.
They've got a Dread Serpent, they got a Dome Shield, they got a lot of things to buy time, and this is going to be very important. Gogcog's got to stay alive. Good slither. I love the upper staircase approach there because it's an easy way to get out of the shot range of PERDO, and he can't chase with his limited mobility on Lex. Dread Serpent available here, going for the stun, gets eLvenpath, saves Seven Cloud's life just for a moment, and that may be the difference in the defense. bugzy falls to Sybe 8, and that was big.
That was really not so much a mistake by D69 to not have anyone there, but just a well-timed frag from Flashpoint. bugzy was the one on the payload, so D69, they had their bases covered. They had somebody contesting for overtime, but Sybe 8 finds the kill right at the moment where the overtime would be coming through, and the payload does get successfully defended. So now, that's the deep breath. That's the defense Flashpoint need. They've got their record 2s on both Fishko and Phoenix. They've got their Cauterized 2s on Cloud and Sybe 8, and that's basically equalized now with the pressure from D69. You can see no Caught 3. Actually, eLven does get his Caught 3 online just barely. 69 credits to spare as well. So a little bit more pressure from him, but Flashpoint, they're in a better spot than they've ever been in this game.
And on a Ruckus, that right now is going to be crucial for them because, the record not really needed. You've only got the Barrack on their team, and they didn't go with a lot of the double front line to really contest and warrant it enough. Shielding's not their issue. The Dragon Punch, it could be though. 100% charged up for Flashpoint. Will Phoenix find the opportunity to use it? eLvenpath jumps down with an advance. He actually stalls him away. PERDO falls, but the Dragon Punch, so low is Phoenix. He won't find anyone. Back to 30% for him.
That's not good. bugzy hooks him in as well. Salvo is loose, trying to find this kill on to bugzy, but there's gerrah to just top him up. Fire Spit will come out in a whisk. Just a lot of clutch things going wrong right now for Phoenix.
You can't have that. Look at that convergence. It gets all 3 of them and puts them together for a great party that none of them accepted the invitation to, and that means that it will be all D69 on the objective. gerrah's in a great spot, and Nara on the point sitting comfortably. This is looking bad for Flashpoint.
They had their moment. Dragon Punch whiff, Fire Spit's whiffing onto 2 as well. They had that opportunity to seize. Flashpoint, though, squander it a little bit. 90% on the point for D69. PERDO goes down here, and Shipa finds the kill onto Phoenix.
Oh!
No contest. Bomb King rolling through a day late and $1 short. D69 are going to find their first win.
Oh, man, that's got to be rough. You're watching that victory screen. You're just like, oh, man. And that is, I think, that's so typical of this game, right? And this, what we just saw was a bunch of ultimates almost hitting, a bunch of great plays almost happening, and they just didn't happen. And that's what Flashpoint end up taking back to them. They don't take the W, but they take the experience and saying, sometimes, man, the ball just doesn't go our way. The coin flip just doesn't land on our side.
I mean, you can't really miss a Dragon Punch against this comp. There's really no excuse for that, I don't think, at this level of play with this much on the line. There's 3 frontliners. One of them's a Nara with 0 mobility, so you're not firing that off from a good enough spot. And that was kind of where they needed to get this team fight started. That Dragon Punch is the big opener. It's the big hole you're looking to punch in this triple frontliner composition. Whether you get killed or not out of it, that's another discussion to have. But, just whiffing it entirely against 3 low mobility frontliners, it's just inexcusable in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. When you take that Drogos, you expect that from him. You've got to get what you draft for. That's the most important thing.
That was your last pick. That was your ace in the hole.
As far as I'm concerned, you buy a car, it's got to drive. if you
don't buy a stick if you can't drive stick.
That's exactly what it is. So you need to make sure you get the value for what you're purchasing there. Jaguar Falls, that's going to be the next map. That's going to be a crucial moment for them. The death ball may be even scarier in this situation where there are so many tight corridors. There's not a lot of open air for them to fly and be effective. I wonder if we see the same thing from D69 and say, hey, you couldn't beat us once. Probably can't beat us again.
I don't know if we see Flashpoint let that many frontliners go that early. I think this time around they would opt to probably just not have a counter pick for their last pick.
Probably.
And go for the Maldamba, but this is, I believe, their first pick this time around. So looks to be a little bit of a switch up, and that's something I don't think you probably scrim for very often or practice, running against triple frontliner, because not a lot of people draft that. D69, one of the few that can pull it off, in my opinion.
I think this is also for D69. It's a good thing to win this game, but I don't think this is going to work against a lot of other teams. I don't think this would work really against Gangstars. I don't think this would work against any of the international teams that are coming to play in the summer premiere at Valencia. And so I'm a little worried about this being a long-term strategy, but definitely for the day, it's being effective. Jaguar Falls is the next map. Let's take a look at the champion select and see what they decide to play with. Flashpoint with the first pick this time.
Yeah, and it's cool to see that we're highlighting versatility for District 69. When for so long it was hard-headedness, it was stubbornness to change what they were doing. You know, we're seeing a lot of adjustments. Laizy's learning new characters, Stolzy's having to learn new characters, D69 is getting more flexible. DreamHack is shaping up to be one of the craziest lands I think we have ever seen.
And I think that one of the things that Ash would have brought to that game is not only the versatility, not only unexpectedness, right in response to D69's unexpected draft, but I just think a way to showcase that we are willing to adapt our draft. We're not just going to pick the normal stuff you're expecting us to pick. That's going to make your death ball work. We're going to actually draft something that's going to throw you off your game. Let's see how you respond.
Yeah, maybe.
That's where you got to test these guys.
Jag Falls, 4 frontliners. Kind of goes hand in hand here. Nara Barrack for Flashpoint. Makoa Ruckus for D69. No Fernando this time around. He's still on the table if they really want to get after that triple frontliner. But Androxus will be the Bomb King locked in as well.
I have a question to ask. Do you think that Barrack was the optimal choice as a solo frontliner in that scenario? Would you have rather Fernando?
Probably. I mean, ideally as a solo frontliner, I would probably want a Nara.
A Nara.
Just because she's tanking. She's not going to fall off as hard as the other ones do. It's hard to say. It's hard to say who you're going to take as the solo frontliner.
It's not really often that we see just solo frontliner versus solo frontliner.
Honestly, solo frontliner, I'm probably taking Makoa and just sending him around with my squad and just trying to frag.
I also wonder if Willow would have been a better decision. It's a little weird, but I think Blastflower or Scorn, I mean, either one of those have a big impact. Or you talk about even Scorch.
I think you're right.
I mean,
I agree with you 100%.
Instead of Drogos, I mean, you didn't get much value from Drogos. I feel like you would have gotten at least that value from Willow.
How does Cauterize 3 from the minute 0 sound to you against triple frontliner? You know what I mean? But I mean, D69, they didn't even death ball super hard. They only ever had like one person. I don't know. They play it super well. It's hard to counter. Willow, obviously, if it's not in the repertoire, it's going to be that much harder to pull off on game time. Mortal Reach for Cog Saris this time around. Accelerant for Fishko's Bomb King. Mother's Grace for Phoenix's Inara. Recurve for Cybe H. Shaolin for the first time today. We're seeing the Desert Wind. Architectonics for Cephid Cloud's Barrack.
And Shaolin is going to be very impactful here. A lot of places to impale, and he could shut down bugzy, but that's a hard task. Morale boost, combustible. Somebody's watching some videos. I'm just kidding. That's what I saw here. This is the meta for Drogos right now, at least a lot of what Bugzy likes to say. And he says it's not always good unless certain situations, certain comps. So interested to see why it works here. Ripen Gourd for Maldamba, and Gerrah's playing that PERDO on Dark Stalker, Androxus, Shipa on Flux Generator, Ruckus, and eLvenpath on Half Shell Makoa as the game gets started. Grumpy Bomb thrown into the middle, just waiting off anything that D69 are going to have to say about that objective. They're really looking to say, get away from my point this time.
Reading him like a book. 2 fire spits in a row. Precision detonations coming through. Just keep Bomb King on the back foot. Bugzy with some beautiful stuff to start off and just keep Flashpoint in this back corner. Allows 2 more picks to come through on the left side. D69 win both fights handily on either side of the point.
Nick, he's 60% on his ultimate right
forehead
now. He's basically only played... No, that wasn't a read there, unfortunately. But, you know, he's just got so much damage that he's brought to the table. They're already winning the point because of that. And he is almost 70% charged on his ultimate, beating everyone by a mile here. Except PERDO on the Androxus doing a great job. D69, as a result of that, have captured the objective. 2 minutes, 20 seconds now for them to begin the push.
Fishko finds the first answer for Flashpoint. Saibei finds the second. PERDO and bugzy do fall. Phoenix falls. Shipa gets him and just quelling the aggression there, being his own peel, his own savior. Gerrah doesn't need anybody's help.
That is Maldamba at its finest. That is just self-peel. That is the tool that he has. And rightfully so here. Probably something technical. We don't know what it is exactly, but there's a pause on the side of Flashpoint. Getting back into the game, that's what I love. I've been thinking a lot about Maldamba and the fact that, you know, these high-skilled cap characters, you compare him and Ying. What's the difference? They both can heal very well, but when you put Maldamba on the best player in the world, like a Gerrah, he should be able to do more things. And that stun right there is just a quintessential example of when you have the best on the best, what they can do.
Absolutely. Maldamba, one of the most fun one to watch. It's pretty interesting to balance them out. You know, Saris, I think, is a little bit easier. Maldamba can still do some pretty insane things, you know, when played perfectly.
Yeah.
It's just that type of day for Gerrah here, playing the Maldamba to its highest degree. I think has the highest impact still of all the supports.
Absolutely, and he is going to be leading the charge. A lot of these supports at high-level esports will actually kind of escort the payload, more so even than the frontliners at times, as they create that space in front to zone. So Gerrah just keeping a nice, watchful eye over his teammates. bugzy, though, he's going to hit a combustible. Might be enough to get the kill, but he's got his Dragon Punch ready to go. Another combustible almost knocks him off the edge. Fishko's got to be careful. Seismic crash by Phoenix. A little bit too late and gets no value out of that ult.
Sometimes you just gotta hold that L. You know, you got to just cut your losses right then and there. Throws the seismic crash for literally no reason, gets nothing for it. Sent back to base regardless. Fire Spit putting a lot of pressure, and that's just forcing Saris to have to heal one target over and over again. So now, you know, everyone else is free to pressure who they want. Dragon Punch still at the ready here. bugzy sitting on this one for a long time.
This is where you need to get Drogoz off. Drogoz on the push, on the defense. He loves to sit on that upper rafter right there to look down and just fire away rockets. It's his best angle of attack, and Fishko's got to have to force him away. But now Fishko's fighting two enemies, and he just can't compete with PERDO and bugzy at the same time.
I don't hate the aggression. Oh, God. Three-man Fire Spit. Hold that thought. Comes through from bugzy. But, yeah, I don't hate the aggression from Fishko. That was kind of your moment to siege. He's going to be coming through. Respawning just now, but Phoenix already falling through. Sephic Cloud's going to fall. The Dragon Punch comes through. Just that little bit of momentum. Just that smallest mistake. Small over-aggression there from the Bomb King gives D69 the window they need to convert.
The coordination was beautiful coming out between Gerrah and bugzy. Gerrah, the own peel for bugzy's Dragon Punch, knowing that the Dread Serpent fearing everyone was going to give him not only an easy target to hit that isn't running around, but no damage to be taken while he's flying through the air and vulnerable in that state. And this is a combination that I think you look at Gerrah, what he's bringing to the team. This is just a hard guy to really shut down his effectiveness for his squad.
Doesn't really make a ton of mistakes either. Almost
no, he doesn't.
Similar to Bird in that, right? And it's not, you know, it's not always on the support players. That's the thing. People only will call you out if you're not doing your job, and that's just sort of the nature of support. We try to give them the shout-outs when we can, but, you know, just don't die. Don't miss your heals. Don't get out of position is sort of your job as support. And a big talking point as well, cauterize ones almost across the board for Flashpoint. A lot of members just shy of that level 2 offensive item, and that could make the difference here for D69.
Shipa just looking erratic, trying to find somebody to shoot at, but will back away because of the King Grumpy Bomb and just back right onto the objective. Throws up the emitter. Phoenix now getting pressure from PERDO on the backside. Kok almost going down. Reversal in anticipation of some damage following through from Phoenix, but it looks like Kok, Phoenix, and maybe even Fishko here will fall. He's fighting for his life, chasing bugzy down midair, will slay the dragon and remain as the last man standing essentially to contest this fight.
But 75% already. Might have to go for the King Bomb. Don't know if he has a whole lot of options. Whiffs the Poppy Bomb. Gonna take some damage for it. Unfortunately, Shipa's mitigating almost all of that as well. The Inara wall's off. Shipa from getting back in here. He's just gonna jump against that wall, try to get something. Healer's completely zoned out. Shadow Travel just to try and have an impact, but too little, too late. Overtime started for D69. No reason they shouldn't capture this payload.
Oh my God, eLven with these long-range cannonballs. Not doing too much damage, but absolutely chipping away. 3-0 goes the score for D69. Yet again, this is looking like complete domination over Flashpoint, who have shown moments of brilliance against the top teams, but have yet to really break through that door that they've been so effortlessly knocking against.
It's tough when nothing's going wrong for the teams at the top. You know, you got a lot of pressure. It's going to take a lot from these bottom teams to try and break their way into those top 2 spots, into those DreamHack qualifier seeds. Minute 57 remain here. Dragon Punch at the ready, just waiting on that thrust cooldown. It looks like Trying to get an angle on some fire spit here. Just letting the payload push for free at this point.
I love the 2 tanks. They're just taking the right staircase, trying to pressure out. One hook from eLvenpath could secure Cybate's death here, but a nice impale. Ooh. Not going to take him off. eLvenpath might have had the shell spin as well if he really went off, but maybe just not expecting any of that interaction, so luck saves him on the day.
Huh. So they find the pick onto Fishko here, but backing up for the large part, D69, trying to find the angle to get aggressive at this point, but they take so long to do it that Fishko's now respawned.
Yeah. No, and this is important because he's so much of their crowd control and damage. So if he's able to really make an impact with that.
Never mind.
King Bomb,
there it goes. All
he
right.
would have been able
just
to change
the
the dynamic, but he goes down, and this is just looking like D69 ready to seal the deal yet again. That's how you Dragon Punch. bugzy makes sure to secure it. 14 streak for Shipa, trying to make it 15 if SunCommander or Cybate go down here. An Impale Stun will not come close to touching his health, and D69 will not be threatened whatsoever here as they take the victory.
That's both rounds. I don't know if it was Fishko both. It was Fishko both rounds, actually. I don't know if it was him getting over aggressive. I don't know if it was just a dredge anchor or something pulled him, but both rounds he got picked. And even though it was like he was respawning as they're coming in the base, that small little 4v5 window is all D69 needed, and both conversions were just found. All of a sudden, it just you snap your fingers and the team fight's over. 2 more picks come through. bugzy's looking to Dragon Punch a third.
Yep.
And you're just like, wow, well, that was quick. I don't know. It's hard to point at what exactly goes wrong. So you got to look at, who got picked first.
Yeah, who exactly. And, the D69, if we take a look at the scoreboard here, is so good at really just making sure that they capitalize on every single thing. You talk about the differences between Drogos. bugzy just hits the Dragon Punch when you need to hit it, and that brings the value of drafting Drogos. One of the best in the business on this Dragon, and he gets top damage above everyone in this game.
By a pretty big margin, and that's what we're used to, but it's not like anyone from Flashpoint's getting blown out of the water. It's not like anyone from Flashpoint's feeding uncontrollably. It's just these little things happening slowly over time. That one pick is all D69 need. They pull ahead, and just crazy, crazy slash lines coming out from D69.
13-0. 0 deaths.
That's all you need, man.
From gerrah.
Just don't die. He's not getting out of position. He's landing his heals at 79,000. He's not dying. He's landing good ults. What more do you want?
gerrah God. That needs to be an emote for his...
It doesn't, all the stuff he's doing doesn't show up on the kill feed, but having a good support on your squad makes your life so much easier.
And you know what? He's making a great, I think, run for D69 here as they try to compete for the top spot against Gangstars right now, who have gone 2-0 to start things out. Let's take a look at the schedule to see what has happened for EU today. Just round things out as we finish this portion of the broadcast. And the standings are as follows. Gangstars leading things off with 2 games, 2 wins. Perfect scenario. Flashpoint 0-2 there after playing 2. And D69, they are 1-0, only 1 game today, with WASD also losing their game.
Yep, so moving into the next week, they'll have the doubleheader. D69 will have the chance to kind of catch up to Gangstars. So despite being 2-0 right now, Gangstars and D69 are all things even. They've won every match that we have set out for them to play.
Well, it's time for North America. Right after this short break, we're going to be actually switching regions and showing you all of the best action. This exact same thing you watched for the North American side of competition. It's going to be Denial, Odin's Chosen, a lot of great teams. They're battling and vying for the first place and second place. And Swarm coming in strong. Random Noob TV squad having qualified after that amazing tiebreaker and performance over the last couple of weeks. So much action, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with North America here in our second part of the summer premiere.